It's 2014. You've had a long day and decide to check out your favourite content creator. Markiplier has just uploaded a video with this thumbnail and title. It's at this moment that horror gaming has changed forever.
And believe it or not, that was 10 years ago. Man oh man, where do we start with Five Nights at Freddy's? The series is arguably the most famous indie horror franchise ever. And damn, I loved watching content on this back when I was younger, especially given I was a massive Markiplier fan, and to be fair, I still rewatch a lot of his content out of nostalgic joy. It's kinda insane how a small game made from the fires of a failed game would create a juggernaut of a series. Damn, I remember the golden age before every human child got involved with this series. That was a legit awesome time to talk about it. But nowadays, FNAF is clearly aimed at younger audiences, especially if you take a look at the modern stuff and the merchandise. Though to give credit, we've seen so much worse and desperate attempts from other franchises. Now, I've never really played any of the games, I didn't have a PC or laptop growing up, and honestly, I just prefer watching it. I'm not really scared of some silly bear that makes funny noises.
Have you ever heard of Among Us, Gregory?
So instead we're going to take a look at the FNAF movie, which I haven't seen yet and I was planning to watch and review for the 10-year anniversary of the franchise. Well, close to 10 years. And boy, this movie has some turbulent history when it comes to being made. Announced all the way back in 2015, this film seemingly struggled to get off the ground. Even Warner Bros were involved at one point, though given their track history, probably best that they had nothing to do with this. Finally, Blumhouse would be given the task of getting this movie produced, and in 2023, the movie finally came out. Man, Darko has been waiting his whole fucking career for this movie. So on my first viewing, I gotta say, I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie. I found it to be too dull to really keep invested, and some things were a bit nonsensical. Spoilers ahead, by the way. Though I wouldn't say I hated it, like there are certainly positives as well. The people behind this movie genuinely cared about the series, so much so that Matt Pat himself is in this movie. Markiplier was also invited to be the security guard that dies in the intro, but due to his work on Iron Lung was unable to be a part of the movie. We even get Corey Kenshin, and damn, it has been a long time since I saw him on the platform. Miss you, buddy. Genuinely one of the best content creators out there. These are a few I noticed, and if there are any more YouTubers, you can tell me in the comments. Something I'll point out is that the film is set in its own universe rather than the game universe. This means characters like Mike and Vanessa are reworked for this movie. It also means we don't have to figure out the fucking lore of the games. I'd have an easier time with kidney stones than this goddamn franchise's lore. So being able to just step right into it was a blessing. So let's take a look into Five Nights at Freddy's the movie and see what exactly happened. The film starts with a setup involving a security guard being hunted. Fans of the series will immediately recognise the humming tune of Foxy, arguably the fan favourite. The intro simply does a lot of callbacks to the games to excite fans, and what more could you really ask for? The intro then goes to an animated arcade style, clearly inspired by the various minigames throughout the series. For a positive, the arcade intro sets up the whole antagonist and missing kids from the game, without having to tell the audience in nauseating detail, unlike a certain fanfiction film series I know. We are greeted with Mike Schmidt, who was the security guard from FNAF 1, reworked here to fit the film's plot. We establish that Mike works in security in a mall and also is looking after this character known as Abby, who wasn't in the games as far as I'm aware. Abby is Mike's sister here and has a very neurodiverse vibe going for her. Anyway, Mike proceeds to assault a random guy in the mall, leading to him being fired and seeing this employment counsellor. Upon seeing his names in the records, he silences and takes an inquisitive look, following up with a change in tone as he offers coffee. You know what movie this is, so obviously it's the security job at the pizzeria. However, Mike informs him that he can't do nights, which we'll see why later. Returning home, Mike is informed by the babysitter his sister has not been eating, and the two get frustrated at each other. The dynamic between these two remind me of Nanny and Levi, weirdly enough, the two individuals having to cope without parents and the youngest being a bit special. But instead of a cool blue alien, we get Freddy Fazbear. We later see Mike's constant dream regarding his brother Garrett,
At some point in childhood, Garrett was abducted by a... Garrett!
His eyes open. And this degenerate is who they entrust with the well-being of a mentally ill child.
So this is Mike's aunt, who has been trying to get custody over Abby. I'll also quickly mention that the aunt only wants the monthly pay she'll receive for fostering Abby, as explained by Mike.
You know, pictures hold tremendous power for children. Before we learn to speak, images are the most important tool we have for understanding the world around us.
This statement is very important and you'll all want to remember this for later. With a talk from Abby's teacher, Mike realises to keep her from being taken, Mike needs a job to support the house and decides to take up the counsellor's offer. After a rundown over the phone, Mike starts his first night in the pizzeria. Out of curiosity, Mike plays a videotape that covers his role. I got some analog horror vibes out of this sequence, though mostly just from how the tape plays, glitching intensely when the animatronics are present. After a few hours, Mike falls into his dreams to relive his nightmare of Garrett's abduction.
However, something is different. What is this?
Mike returns home and ensures he'll pay the babysitter for all her trouble, but we go to Sparky's to discover she has other motives. I'm not sure if this location is a reference to the old Sparky animatronic myth spawned from the first game, but if that is, then damn, that's a unique choice of fucking Easter eggs. I swear to fucking God, I did it again. All I do is swear in all these videos, like, I should be fucking hired by... I keep doing it. I should be hired by VisiPop at this point. I could write every fucking... I keep doing it! Fucking Christ. I could write the whole show with just a night of me talking to just anything. I swear that much. Also, we see MatPat here.
But, you know, it's just a theory.
Are you?
He said it! He said it! Is that guy okay?
I just realized I shouldn't be hearing any of this. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't be here at all.
I legit love this character. So it turns out that the babysitter Max has been trying to find evidence for the aunt with the promise of money. Her brother is present and the lot agree to trash the pizzeria to get Mike fired.
Mike has another dream just like before, the 5 kids included, as he pursues one of them after they flee from his question. Turns out he followed Foxy and got shanked as a result.
After he resets the power, Mike goes to the entrance to let in this cop. She informs him that she is Vanessa. Yes, that Vanessa. She blatantly points out the missing kids and also informs Mike that he'll eventually just quit the job. She also decides to introduce the stars of the show. The animatronics all look really good as well, to be fair, though they're a bit skinnier than their game counterparts. Also, Bonnie shorts out, ending the party. By morning, Vanessa leaves and Mike heads home. All the while, Max and her brother launch the raid on the pizzeria, with some friends tagging along. As the thugs break in, the animatronics start to disappear from the stage, identical to the game itself. We also have a blink and you'll miss it Easter egg to multiple YouTubers from the FNAF community. This includes Darko and 8-Bit Ryan. Or is it 8-Bit Gaming? I can't remember. Or is it not Ryan at all? You can tell I don't keep up with these people. There's probably a lot more on here, but I couldn't tell you. Anyway, all the guys get picked off, and the babysitter ends up trying to find them. This goes about as well as you'd expect.
Was that the bite of 87?
The following morning, Mike is then confronted by Vanessa about the break-in, showing off his sleeping tablets. The two talk it out while Mike explains that he often tries to search for the answers to his brother's kidnappings through his dreams. Later on, Mike attempts to contact the babysitter Sam, but unfortunately, as we saw a minute ago, This forces Mike to bring Abby along to the shift. Speaking of shifts,
Mike enters his dreams and tries to bargain with the lost children,
only to suddenly be awakened by a screaming Abby. Turns out the animatronics were actually just being friendly.
Mike, this is Bonnie, Foxy, and Chica. Everyone, this is Mike.
The fuck?
When Mike returns home, he starts to realise that the pictures Abby drew are connected to the ghost children. They basically just turn around and say, "Yep, there's ghosts. How else could we explain why the robots are interacting with people? It's not fucking security breach, is it?" We also see a picture depicting the kidnapping of Garrett, as Abby explains that one of the ghost children told her. I think. Anyway, she also mentions that the ghosts are constantly talking about a certain yellow
Criminal.
Ghost children possessing giant robots?
Ah yes, it sounds pretty insane, right?
Holy shit!
So, they build a fort out of tables. I mean, it's cute, but it feels a bit out of place. The music doesn't help either. The song being played is called Connection, for those curious. I can't play it here for obvious copyright reasons, but you can look it up yourselves. Later on, Mike and Vanessa head to the back to find tablecloths for the fort. Here we are also introduced to the Springlock suits. FNAF fans are already fully aware of how dangerous these are, and the film pretty much shows us with this broomstick. Mike grows more suspicious with Vanessa, who seemingly knows the ins and outs of the pizzeria. Abby then shorts out Bonnie accidentally, then Vanessa essentially warns Mike to stop bringing Abby to the pizzeria. Morning arrives and Mike calls the auntie in, though never really explained why. I'm assuming by the way he interacts with her, he decided it might be better for her to live with her aunt. Though she resents this and seemingly hides away in her room, scribbling out Mike from the picture she drew. Mike returns to Freddy, seemingly to continue his dream chase, and is confronted by the...
Emergency landing. Hey, buddy. This isn't how it happened. This isn't real.
But it could be. You want to save Garrett, that's why you're really here. You can have this dream every night. We can be together with him again, like before.
How?
You said we could have anything we wanted. We want
They
Abby.
offer him the dream of Garrett in exchange for
I love her, Mike, and she loves them.
You've seen her with them. You've seen how happy she is.
They offer him the dream of Garrett in exchange for Abby.
You're home.
No, this is wrong. I don't want this. This isn't...
Mike refuses, thus hell ensues.
Later in the evening, Abby is greeted by what I can assume is Golden Freddy.
Silly Aunt Jane. She fell asleep.
Yeah. Whatever you say, bud. Abby and Golden Freddy then take a taxi driven by Corey Kenshin.
What the? Oh my goodness!
The dude legit kills me every time. Great to see this guy again. Meanwhile, Mike is rescued by Vanessa and he explains the situation. Vanessa then reveals the animatronics want to make Abby into one of them. As Abby arrives via the Corey Kenshin taxi, she is now at the pizzeria, setting up the climax. Also, major spoilers, but Vanessa in the movie is the daughter of William Afton, aka the main antagonist of the FNAF series. So Mike gears himself up for a confrontation with cattle prods and tasers. I mean, it beats just flashing lights into their eyes. After reaching Abby, she makes a pretty smart argument that they really should just leave the place, given the fact that she almost got spring-trapped. However, the cupcake of all things stops them, and as Abby tries to run away, she is hunted by Foxy. As Mike attempts to find Abby, he runs into a terrifying foe. Meanwhile, Vanessa shows up to save Abby. Stuff is just jumping around a lot. Vanessa confronts William at gunpoint, even shooting him in the side. This goes about as well as you'd expect. All the while, Mike informs Abby to use her drawings to inform the truth to the animatronics about Afton. Seeing the truth, the animatronics turn on him and cause his suit to break down due to the spring locks, much like he died in the games. He even spits out his iconic line,
I always come back.
To give the scene some credit, that legit looks painful and well done, despite not showing a lot of blood. Like, the film's at 15, so why not embrace the bloody nature of it? Anyway, the crew escapes, though Vanessa is hospitalised after William stabbed her for betraying him. By the end of the film, we see that Mike and Abby get along much better, and they even visit Vanessa in the hospital. And we even see Springtrap get sealed away just like the games. Oh, and the Living Tombstone song starts playing.
Oh my god!
And the film comes to a close, with Corey again in the end of the credits scene. The FNAF movie was clearly made with heart going into this. From costume design, set design and tributes towards YouTubers who blew the series into stardom, it's clear that the people behind this wanted to make the best product they could. I can respect this for the movie, and as someone who's been in and out of the franchise, I enjoyed the film to some degree. The film also runs fine with pacing and never felt overly long. Also, every actor here is doing a great performance, even down to the child actors who have always struggled to come off as professional. No one felt out of character, and the mystery of Mike and his brother Garrett is a nice follow as we learn that William Afton was behind it all. Also, being in a separate timeline from the games massively helps to get straight into this movie. This alone helps the film greatly. The film isn't scary in the slightest. I hate to say this, but this might be the least scary FNAF media since Security Breach. I think this has to do with the animatronics constantly being visible in the light and acting way more robotic compared to their game counterparts. Also, with this film being a 15, it doesn't really feel like it. Sure, Rebel Moon Part 1 is a 15, but I'd argue that made sense given the implied assault, the violence and the edginess you'd expect from a Snyder movie. Here, I'd argue you'd be able to get away with a 12 rating, mainly based off the way Afton gets dealt with. Also, the aunt character feels very unimportant, only really forcing Mike to take the job so he can support Abby. I also found myself on my first viewing falling asleep, as the film can get a bit tedious to sit through. Overall, I just had mixed feelings after watching this. As a video game adaptation, I'd say it works fine. And with the recent video game projects proving very successful on streaming and big screens, it's unfortunate for me to say that this film struggles to compete. Still, if you love the FNAF series, then it's pretty good, but if you're looking for a horror film for movie night, you'd probably be better off watching a playthrough of the original FNAF games. Or maybe wait for the upcoming sequel. The film was successful enough to support the next film, so maybe we'll see an improvement from this point on. And maybe we'll take a look at it when that time comes. In the meantime, you can check out my review playlist here. It's also nuts that the FNAF series is 10 years old, right? Like, how the hell has time flown so fast with a little indie series gone mega IP? Anyhow, thanks for watching.